strange lights coming from unidentified flying objects, bubbles that explode like bombs, whispers coming from the depths, and even a monster that can scare its victims to death. These are the 5 creepiest things captured in the middle of the ocean. Number 5. Mysterious lights. Our first story takes us to the coast of France in 1986, specifically on the route between Cherbourg and the Isle of Wight in England. That night, a man and his partner were aboard their small boat, traveling a long distance that wasn't supposed to be challenging. However, plans didn't go as they wished. In the middle of the journey, the captain noticed something that seemed unusual. In the distance, the lights of Cherbourg Harbor could be discerned. There was something else in the sky. At first, it wasn't so obvious, barely standing out in the horizon, but little by little it took shape. Immediately, the man called his partner, who rushed upstairs to witness something inexplicable. In the sky, an intense celestial light was approaching above the clouds. It wasn't a helicopter or anything like it, as it didn't emit a single engine or propeller sound, but as it advanced, the darkness of the night faded away. The strange wake was advancing at a good speed. The color was becoming more and more intense and intimidating. The captain was tempted to turn around and go back the way he had come. But when he made up his mind, it was too late. The light finally reached them. It was almost transparent despite its intensity. The ship was completely illuminated, and for a few long minutes, nothing happened. No message, no alarm, absolutely nothing. An instant later, everything turned to chaos. The ground began to shake, the water shook around the boat, objects shot from one side to the other, and after a hollow sound, the crewmen passed out. When they awoke, they both had the same image, a monstrous figure falling from the sky, the sensation of having levitated and seen the world from above, and a powerful pain in their bones. It didn't make sense, but it made even less sense that they were only a few minutes away from the port. The trip must have taken more than 3 hours. Yet, looking at their watches, only 1 hour had passed. Number 4. Submerged secrets. The deep sea can be just as spooky as the heights. At least, this seems to be proven by a cruise forum passenger who was aboard a prestigious ride on a swanky luxury boat in the Gulf of Mexico when she noticed something unsettling. According to the experience she shared on social networks, at some point in the night, while the boat was moving through the waters, something caught the attention of the entire crew. A few meters away, more than 10 huge spheres of several meters in diameter emanated a blinding light. They looked like luminous eggs, giant stones that projected blinding lights. No one could explain the phenomena. Even the veteran captain seemed bewildered by the phenomena. He had never seen anything like it. Many passengers tried to photograph the spheres, but the images could only capture a dark sky and a blinding light in the depths. The glow was so intense that it was impossible to photograph. On social networks, numerous people added their voices to this woman's story. Apparently, she wasn't the only person to have an experience with these luminescent spheres. Still, the origin and explanation behind these unidentified underwater objects remain a real mystery. Number 3. Mysterious explosions. Many consider vacation time sacred and deserving of respect. For this reason, people keep their phones turned off, choose a place without too much noise, and live the experience by concentrating as much as possible on the environment. However, would a group of tourists experience at Dividing Creek in Maryland, USA, turn their peaceful experience into a truly uncomfortable and disconcerting situation? According to the account of the crew members of 3 small boats, on the first day of the trip, while they were sleeping peacefully, a sound woke them all up, even those who were heavy sleepers. At first, they thought they had hit a ship, but as they climbed on deck, they began to hear large explosions as if there were fireworks or bombs. To their surprise, when they reached the surface, they discovered that it was nothing like they had imagined. The sky was clear, the water was dark, and there was no trace of the origin of the sound. There was simply no explanation, at least until they shone a light on the water. Then they saw it. From the depths emerged large bubbles the size of basketballs. They were thick, swamp green in color, and when they rose slightly to the surface, they burst with a deafening roar that echoed throughout the creek. Passengers in the surrounding boats had also risen to see the chilling spectacle. No one could explain what was before their eyes. It was a unique and unusual situation, something incredible that for several years has attracted numerous researchers to this creek, although most are still unable to give a name or an explanation for this unusual phenomena. Number 2. Voices in the night. Returning to shore after a long voyage is one of the greatest longings of fishermen and sailors. The feeling of returning home is extremely powerful, but sometimes along the way, strange things happen, such as the experience of a group of fishermen one summer evening. According to the story, as they approached the coast of Mozambique, just off a cliff historically known for its shipwrecks, they began to hear something spooky. They were soft, gentle voices, shy laughter, and whispers that slowly made sense to their ears. The men were able to quickly identify the timbre of their voices. They belonged to children. There was no doubt about that. But the meaning of their words was unknown. Sometimes they sounded as if they were up to something, as if they were stalking them or preparing to attack them. At other times they sounded terrified, and more often than not they emitted a high-pitched sound like a scream. The group was completely terrified. The ship was moving forward without interruption, but everywhere they felt a presence that was about to attack them. Fortunately, they managed to reach the beach, although the memory never left their heads. Number 1. Ningen. Sometimes social networks can be the best hiding place for the most impressive stories in the world. On 2 Channel, for example, a popular Japanese forum, a great stir has been created after a user shared the story of Ningen, a mysterious creature that lurks off the coast of his country. The witness claims that during a government-funded research project to study whales, something terrifying happened in the depths. Apparently, the researchers spotted what looked like a submarine, but as it approached them, something didn't seem to fit. Far from being covered in metal, the object cruising the depths seemed to be made of dark flesh, and its movements were full of life. Less than 5 meters away, the crew could perceive that it was a gigantic creature, a being never before seen by biology. From the surface, the radars were able to capture its grotesque proportions, and even its shadow threatened to devour the researchers' small boat. The encounter was brief and impressive. The beast disappeared in the same manner in which it had arrived, leaving countless questions as great bewilderment in those who witnessed the event. Surprisingly, a couple of years later, when hundreds of images of this creature were published, different internet users shared similar experiences. Each one of the facts they related was related to this mysterious creature, its dimensions, and its terrifying presence. Since then, the sea monster began to be called Ningen, and there are records of it in almost all the oceans of the planet, although no one knows for sure its origin or what animal it could be. Of course, there are all kinds of theories surrounding this creature. The depths of the ocean are unexplored territory, a terrifying place full of mysteries that, fortunately, we are getting closer and closer to unraveling. If you don't believe it, you just need to dive with us in the following videos to discover what's hidden in the dark bowels of the sea. Are you ready? Then, here you go.